Okay, so welcome all to our weekly session on the Isopanisad. We are discussing the second mantra of the Isopanisad, but before that, let's do quick revision of some of the points that we have covered in our last class. So, or in the previous classes. So, what do you remember from our previous discussions? Nothing? Nobody remembers anything? Structure of the
Yes,
issue.
Guruji.
Yeah,
Yes.
go ahead. Mhm.
It is part of the Yajurveda. There are
Very nice.
4 Vedas and 11 Upanishads, and this comes
108 Upanishads,
108. Okay, 10 main, isn't it?
10
Something.
main Upanishads, yes.
So this comes under Yajurveda,
Very
and
nice.
the main intention of is to bring us more closer to God,
Very nice.
and yeah, this is something I remember about the introduction part.
Very nice. Very nice. And what about something further than that?
We finished, I think, 2 shlokas,
Two
Prabhu.
mantras, yeah, yeah.
2 mantras we finished. I cannot remember exactly
Yeah,
what
yeah.
it is. Just 1 minute, Prabhuji.
Yeah, yeah. Anita Mataji, go ahead.
Guruji, in the beginning, we also spoke about axiomatic truth that is given by the Vedas, and that there can be no mistake in it.
Very
For
nice. Very nice.
example, that cow dung is considered pure, so there are no two ways about it. And
Very,
Pong is important function, although it is made up of dead bone. So
very
those are
nice.
the
Anshal, yeah, very nice. Two axiomatic truths is something that we saw in the introduction. Yeah, good. What else?
Yeah, we also spoke of Shruti, which is considered to be like a mother,
Very
and speak the truth, Pratyaksha, which is you can get the direct evidence, then
mm-hmm.
Anumana, which is
Yeah.
yeah, indirect knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
and Shabda, or which is a oral reception of
Very
the
nice.
knowledge.
Very nice. Very nice. And of these three, which is considered for us something that we should be looking up to? Should we rely on direct evidence every time?
Yes, direct evidence. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Somebody else has a different view on this. Is it direct evidence or something else that we are?
Shabda,
Shabda.
reception.
Yes. Shabda Praman is most important for us, not direct evidence, because we have not seen God yet, nor can we see God.
Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. So Shabda Praman is most important for us, and therefore that's why we read and we take knowledge available that is there. Otherwise, we would not have believed the Vedas, right? If we have to depend on direct evidence, then we have to wait and see for everything, which might
Yes.
mean multiple lifetimes. Yeah.
Right.
So, and in every lifetime, you have to restart all over again because you have to, in every lifetime you have to start from ABCD again. Yeah. So yeah. So yeah, very good, very good. So yeah, therefore, we believe in the Vedas through the analogy of the mother. That whatever the mother is saying has to be the truth. Yeah. The other aspect we have to believe, or the foundational belief is that whatever is written in the Vedas is the truth. Yeah. And the second aspect about the Vedas is what? Which is our foundational belief mentioned in the.
As the
Sorry,
uh,
Madhuji, go ahead.
Lord Krishna is a supreme Godhead.
That is fine, yes, but related to the Vedas.
Is it the Ishavasya principle?
No,
Prabhuji?
that will come ahead. That will come ahead. In relation to the Vedas, we heard the concept called apaurusheya.
Yeah. Transcendental knowledge.
Yes, transcendent knowledge, and it is not written by any human being, because every human being has 4 defects. So if they have these 4 defects, then they couldn't have. So therefore, that's another foundational belief that we have, that the scripture or the Vedas at least are apaurushaya, and that they are like the mother. Whatever is written there is axiomatic truths, which they can be proven, but we do not have the right set of tools as yet to prove whatever is in the Vedas. Very good. So axiomatic truths in the Vedas, and therefore we study the Vedas as Shabda Praman. That whatever is written is coming through oral reception to us, oral or written, and then we read whichever way. So it's not something that we pratyaksha, we do not have the experience, because we do not have the tools for that particular thing, especially our senses are defective. So 2 foundational beliefs, which is why we study the scripture. One is the scriptures are apaurushaya, and whatever is written there is the truth. Very good, very good. That is in the introduction session that we saw 3 pramanas. Good. Then subsequent to that, we also saw the invocation mantra. Everybody remembers the invocation mantra? What was there in the invocation mantra?
That the Supreme Personality of Godhead is perfect and complete.
Very nice, very nice. That's the understanding. And how does it try to explain the perfection of the Supreme? The first invocation mantra.
Like the Lord is complete, hope, and even though we are all like coming from the Lord Himself, but we are not the Lord. Like He is
That is
a
fine.
separate entity, and
we are separated, but in relation to the Lord itself, even though we have come from the Lord, what happens to the Lord? Does He get split up?
no, He remains complete.
Remain perfect, complete whole. Very nice, very nice. And we saw multiple examples towards that.
We also spoke about infinity.
Infinity, yes. We need to explain the Lord. We look at the concept of infinity. From infinity, if you remove something, still infinity will remain as is. It will remain a complete whole. Very good. Anybody can chant the mantra without looking? You can look, no problem.
Looking, I can try, Prabhuji.
Right, go ahead.
Om Purnamadaha Purnam Idam Purnat Purnam Udachyate
Very nice.
Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate.
Very nice, very nice. Avashishyate means remains. So from the Purna, another Purna is removed. Still, whatever is remain is also whole. So that's the definition of infinity. Also, we try to understand this infinity through 3 concepts. What are those 3?
Sat, Chit, Anand.
Very nice. Sat, Chit, and Ananda. Sat as in eternity, Chit as in knowledge, and Ananda as in bliss. Unlimited bliss. So all 3 can be infinite, and they are infinite in the supreme spiritual world. And from these 3 things, we are trying to understand the concept of infinity, or the concept of completeness, or the concept of the Lord. So that's the Isopanisad mantra number 1, the invocation mantra. Then we talk about that was invocation. Then we talk about mantra number 1, key principle espoused in the mantra number 1.
Ishavasyam.
Very nice, Ishavasyam. And something more about Ishavasyam. Parina Mataji, go ahead.
Prabhuji, we should be satisfied with those things. God has kept, he has kindly set aside for us.
Very
And
nice.
nothing belongs.
That's the second aspect. First aspect is, sorry, you are telling it now. Nothing. Sorry, what is that?
Nothing belongs to us originally.
Very
like
nice.
building
Everything
material.
belongs to the Lord.
everything is owned and controlled by the Supreme Lord.
Very nice. And that's the first principle. Everything belongs to the Lord, and He has given us a set quota, and we have to be satisfied with whatever that He has given us. If we try to unnecessarily take what is not part of our quota, then so two key aspects mentioned as part of the Isopanisad mantra 1. Anybody wants to chant the mantra number 1? Try looking and try.
Can I, Prabhuji?
Yeah, go ahead, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Ishavasyam midam sarvam yat yat kincham jagatyam jagata
Very
ten
nice.
tena bhunjita ma grada kasya svid dhanam.
Very nice. Very nice. Yeah. Ishavasyam idam sarvam. So the Ishavasyam principle is what we saw, that everything is controlled and owned by the Lord. First aspect of this principle. Second aspect, that we should only accept those which are necessary and are set aside as our quota. Yeah, if we do something beyond this, obviously we are a thief. We unnecessarily get so much of karma, so much of fight in the world is happening because of this particular aspect. People are thinking this is mine, mine, mine. They just they're wanting to satisfy their greed, not satisfy their need. That's what we also saw last time. Key principle, that there is enough in the world for everybody's need, but not for everybody's greed. And unfortunately, the second part is what is happening, and therefore you see so much of difference in I mean, that's how the world is, unfortunately, that there is the rich and the poor difference. We see one big glaring differentiation that comes up because of this particular aspect. Yeah, so many things. Yeah, Anita Mataji, go ahead.
Guruji, according to Bhagavatam, are we in the like already seeing the worst of the Kali Yuga, or it's going to get
No, still worst is going to come.
hard,
So this is
right?
only the first 5,000 years. The Kali Yuga just started now. It's not even fully started. First, only 5,000 years have got over. Yeah. So
Because
another, it has to go for another 4,37,000 years.
wow. Okay.
Yeah, as per our Vedic time understanding of time.
Yes. Yeah, Guruji. No, because when you read newspaper also, things that we had never heard before, of even very gross kind of crimes committed. So that makes me really wonder, Guruji, that have we just begun according to Bhagavatam?
Yeah,
And
Kali Yuga has just begun. Yeah.
yeah. Okay,
And
Guruji.
worst is still to come. So the whole point for us, therefore,
Not
is that we don't
that.
want to come back again in this material
Yes.
world. We have, this should be our last birth.
Yeah.
And we have to follow the principles of the Bhagavad Gita.
Hare
And
Krishna.
therefore, that's why we are trying to read and understand all of this. Hare Krishna. Very nice. Yeah. So that's the first principle, which very clearly tells us the Ishavasyam principle. Just like, and this is a principle that we need to do a lot of manan on and a lot of thought process on this. What does Ishavasyam principle? How does it actually apply to me? How do I know that my quota is there? Is there I'm supposed to do something more? All of those are your thought processes that needs to develop and questions needs to come in. Yeah, Pratibha Mataji, go ahead.
Prabhuji, for Kali Yuga, Kali has to take avatar, no? One of the avatars.
Yeah, Kalki.
Sorry, Kalki, yes.
Kalki.
Is it mentioned like during which time period?
By the end.
By
so
the
only,
end.
yeah, in the Bhavishya Puran. So if you also read the 12th canto of Bhagavatam, there it mentions that if you see the sizes of human beings was very tall earlier ages.
Yes.
Some lot of Neolithic proofs and all of that. And the average size of the human being is becoming smaller and smaller and smaller. Apparently, human beings, as per that particular book, we don't know whether it's going to be true, but we have another 4 lakh years to validate that the size of the human beings will become as big as a thumb.
Oh my God.
So that is
Oh,
how small the humans will become, and then I think at that particular point of time, that is what it mentions in
mhm.
the in that Purana. Yeah.
And Bhavishya Purana is
Bhavishya Puran is one of the Puranas. Yeah.
oh,
Also mentioned in the 12th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam.
okay, Bhavishya. Thank you
Yeah.
so
So
much.
those are some of, and there are a lot of other symptomatic things mentioned, which tells us that the end of Kali Yuga is near. Okay. Okay. Coming back to our topic of Ishopanishad. Yeah. So Ishopanishad first principle, Ishavasyam principle, and the entire thought process is set up, and we remember this particular picture. Oops, not this one. Yeah, this was our quota. Otherwise, we are thief. This was the picture that I was. Yeah, the vision, guidelines, and prayers of the Ishopanishads. This. Yeah, vision, guidelines, and prayers of the Ishopanishad. Yeah, we saw vision. So we are now seeing practices for living entities. What to do, what not to do. First thing to do is to understand A, who the Lord is, B, what is the Ishavasyam principle. Yeah, and then we will do further knowledge of the Supreme Person, knowledge and practice of the spiritual vision, then what are the guidelines for executing, and then finally the prayers for knowledge and practice. And this is how the entire vision of Ishopanishad is there, or the overall setup. So we are at mantra number 2. Anybody remembers what was mantra number 2? Some aspects of mantra number 2. What does it talk about?
When we start following the Ishavasya principle, all karmas will disappear and the laws of karma will not apply to us anymore.
Very nice, very nice, very nice. Yeah. So following the importance of following the Ishavasyam principle. Yeah, that's what this second mantra talks about. 1 minute, let me open that mantra. Sorry, I don't know why it's got stuck. Yeah, and this is mantra 1. Let's look at mantra 2. Yeah, mantra 2 talks of kurvan eveha karmani jijivisheka chatam samaha evam tvai nanyathosti na karma lipyate nare. Yeah, that one may aspire to live for 100 years if he continuously goes on working in that way. What is that way? The Ishavasyam way. And why can he go on living? Because that sort of work will not bind him to the law of karma. And there is no other alternative for human beings. And we saw that how only in the form of human beings can we understand the law of karma. And you remember the discussions on the law of karma and the karma cycle. Yeah, what do you remember about that? Anybody?
Can I answer, Prabhuji, if
Yeah,
you
go
will?
ahead. Yeah,
So we have accumulated Sanchit karma,
very
and
nice.
every time we take birth, there is a certain amount that is the prarabdha karma which we are born with.
Very
And
nice.
whenever the worldly experiences we are exposed to, based on how we respond or act, again we build up more karmas. New karmas will be added. So either you can do sakama karma, where you're gaining the good karma, prayaschitta karma, where some of the bad karmas are
Intensity of those are reduced. Yeah.
intensity will be reduced. So either you gain papa or punya by doing good or bad, but the only way to escape even the good karma and being born again to have worldly experience, we should do nishkama karma.
Very
Sorry,
nice.
yeah,
Yeah,
where
correct. Yeah.
yeah, correct. No,
Nice.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So you, whatever you do, you dedicate it to God, and that way you will not gain any more karmas,
Very
and
nice.
eventually you will break the cycle of life and death.
Very nice. Very nice. Yeah. Very nicely, succinctly put. Yeah. The entire thought process of Ishavasyam results in Naishkarmya. Yeah. Everybody can see my screen? Okay. Okay. Anita Mataji can see, she
Yes,
said.
Guruji.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, sorry, the point I was making was, yeah, that this aspect of Naishkarmya is very important. So now this is the principle. So when we say Ishavasam principle, okay, principle is good, I understand, but how do I implement it? How do I understand it? What does it mean? Yeah. So therefore, in order to understand the principle of Naishkarmya, so that we can live our entire life without getting bound by the law of karma, that is what the implementation of the Ishavasya principle is. Yeah. So like we discussed last time, any knowledge, you get to imbibe that knowledge in 3 stages. First stage, we all know, is discovery. Yeah, you discover the knowledge. Oh, yes, apple has fallen down. Why did it fall down? Why did it not go up? Principle of gravitation. Yeah, you discover the principle of gravitational force, Gurutvakarsan. Yeah, and then you started to study that particular force, gravitational force. So we saw various our Vedic acharyas studying Gurutvakarsan or gravitational force. We also saw Newton study further. Yeah, and they came up with various rules to understand gravitational force. 3 laws of motion that we saw of Newton's 3 laws. And so many things we understood. And then we started to apply gravitational force, the concept of aeroplane or the concept of a rocket. Yeah, all of that, they understand the principle of gravitational force and how much of pressure to be put in so that you can escape the gravitation. All of that, you applied. The same way, Ishavasana principle. Other thing that we see in the Bhagavad Gita, one key principle that we understand in the Bhagavad Gita is I am a spirit soul. Yeah, and then what does it mean to be a spirit soul? Now, what does it mean to be an Atma? Then, oh, I'm eternal, that means. Oh, which means this body that I'm getting is only temporary, which means I'm encaged in the body. Oh, now why am I encaged in this body? Because of these particular set of karmas I have, because of desires I have. Yeah. Oh, what happens if I die? Will the soul die? The soul does not die. So all of these are what? Understanding of what does it mean to be an Atma. And then application of that. What do? You then apply. You then do all actions only for Krishna's purpose. You do everything as a sacrifice. You do not do unnecessary sense gratification. All those are application, isn't it? Yeah. Same way, now we are trying to understand the Ishavasyam principle and what does it mean? What does this Ishavasyam principle mean? Now, what happens if I apply this Ishavasyam principle? What happens if I do not apply the Ishavasyam principle? Yeah, all of those are this particular expansion. And then the aspect of actual application of this principle in our own lives. Yeah, then the entire, and that means changes of behavior has to happen. Only then you have imbibed this particular entire knowledge here. That's what the entire thought process here is. So here now, to make us understand the Ishavasya principle, the chapter or shloka number 2 is talking about that we will not get bound by the law of karma if you execute. So if you remember our cycle of what is that? The karma cycle. We saw that we could escape from the karma cycle through application of knowledge. So what is this knowledge? The knowledge is the Ishavasam principle. And what do? You basically do Naishkarmya. Naishkarmya means you do karmas, you do actions, but they do not generate any reactions. How is that possible? Is that possible? Yes, there's a concept called akarma. And we saw Srila Prabhupada talk about the karma, akarma, and vikarma being described in Bhagavad Gita. And of course, we've done a small chart that we saw about how the karma, akarma, vikarma principles come in. So akarma comes in when you apply this knowledge to your actions. Yeah. And what is that particular set of understandings? That is what will come now as we read further of this particular this particular mantra. Yeah. Good. So that's where we are. Important to do the a bit of revision so that we can extend when we go further. Otherwise, it becomes, I mean, I can just directly start off, but we'll all be lost in that. Yeah. So now we are further understanding how to execute a karma. That's where we are, and that's what the next set of paragraphs talk about. Any quick questions at this point of time to what we have covered till now and what we will see further? Yeah, Anita Mataji, go ahead.
So, Guruji, for this, the chanting, we are going through all the shlokas, but ultimate shloka that one must adhere in life is Hare Krishna, Hare Rama. Am I
Correct.
right?
Ultimate mantra. Yeah, that is one of the practices. That when you do as first thing in the morning, you have practices, right? Like typically in a school, we are taught practice. First thing when you wake up, you have to go to the bathroom, brush your teeth, do exercise. These are what? These are practices. Same way, the spiritual practices, that first thing when you wake up, you have to do mantra japa. You have to do meditation because that helps you to remember God throughout the day and helps you to implement the Ishavasam principle. Yeah. So therefore, that particular mantra is given. Now, it's not the other mantras 1, 2, 3, 4 that we talk here are they're mantras as in they don't have to be chanted. They are just knowledge basically.
Yes. Hare
Yeah.
Krishna.
Yeah, the important mantra that we have to chant every day as part of our daily, meditation is the Hare Krishna mantra. Yeah, that is what that mantra is about. Okay, any other questions? If not, then let's progress further about how to implement the Ishavasam principle or how our acharyas have explained what happens when you implement the Ishavasam principle. Oh, okay. So let's then read the next 4 set of paragraphs, which will help us to comprehend a bit. And let's discuss as we progress in on those particular ones. Let's start with the first or the third paragraph. That's where we were. Yeah, Pratibha Mataji can read this one.
The instructions of Sri Isopanisad are more elaborately explained in the Bhagavad Gita, sometimes called the Gita Upanishad, the cream of all the Upanishads. In the Bhagavad Gita, the personality of Godhead says that one cannot attain the state of Naishkarmya or Akarma without executing the prescribed duties mentioned in the Vedic literature.
Okay, hold on. Yeah. So now one of the important concepts Srila Prabhupada brings about is that if you have to do the Ishavasam principle or you have to execute Naishkarmya or Akarma, that's what we saw, right? We have to execute Akarma. How does that Akarma come? He says we have to, it's explained in Bhagavad Gita 3.9 to 16. Yeah. So a very important principle is explained in 3.9. And let's look at what that principle is in 3.9. So this is 3.9. Yes, Mataji, can you read this text 9?
Work done as a
Sorry. Yeah, now you read this.
Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed, otherwise work causes bondage in this material world. Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction, and in that way you will always remain free from bondage.
So now what is the principle mentioned or what is the understanding mentioned here? That we have to perform our prescribed duties for his satisfaction, for the Lord's satisfaction. So what are prescribed duties here? What do you think?
Based on which ashram we belong to. Like
Very nice, very nice. Based on which varna and which ashrama we belong to, there are certain sets of duties that we have to execute. And how do you perform those duties? Those duties have to be performed, yeah, as for Krishna's satisfaction, not for our satisfaction, not for, so as a mother, if you are doing, you're not doing the motherly duty for the son's satisfaction. You're doing it as for Krishna's satisfaction. How do you do that? You feed, the mother feeds the son only Krishna Prasad, the mother teaches about Krishna consciousness, the mother, so everything is done from a Krishna. The duty is done from a Krishna conscious perspective. So when that is done, no karma comes up. So every action that we do, Krishna has to be center of that particular action. That is the crux of the entire knowledge of Naishkarmya. And that's what here Srila Prabhupada refers to. He says that in the Bhagavad Gita 3.9, one cannot attain the state of Naishkarmya or Akarma without executing the prescribed duties mentioned in now prescribed duties. So interesting that Mataji talked about prescribed duties as Varna and Ashrama. So everybody knows. Let's do a quick overview of Varna Ashrama. Let me put this on slideshow. Yeah, everybody can see the screen in big mode. Okay. So here we can see the entire concept of Varnashrama or set of prescribed duties. It's like a graph. If you see, there are on the left side are the Varnas, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. On the bottom, on the x-axis, are the ashramas: Brahmachari ashram, Grahastha ashram, Vanaprastha ashram, and Sannyasa ashram. And a combination of this becomes a grid of 16 boxes. Yeah. So Brahmachari, Brahmana, Brahmachari, Kshatriya, Brahmachari, Vaishya, Brahmachari, Shudra. So like that. All 4 types of Varnas will have Brahmacharis. All 4 type of Varnas will have Grahasthas. All 4 type of Varnas probably will also have Vanaprasthas. All 4 type of Varnas probably also have Sannyasa. Yeah, but typically sannyasis, they go beyond all of these particular bodily designations. So even though you cannot say Shudra sannyasi, it is just for a technical discussion that we have mentioned. So typically, if you see the Varnashrama system, what does it want to attain? It wants to attain the 4 purusharthas, chatur purusharthas. What are the 4 purusharthas? It's there on the screen.
Dharma,
Artha, Kama, Moksha. So typically you can see dharma or knowledge about what to do, what not to do is in the brahmachari stage. So in the brahmacharis, typically all 4, they will want to, they based on their Shudra or based on their Brahmanic, Kshatriya, Vaishyak activities, they will want to know for their Varnas what is the set of their dharma. For example, Shudra, say a barber is there. As a young boy, he will want to know about how to cut hair, how to take over his father's business, how to run. Yeah, as part of his set of activities that he wants to knowledge gaining. Typically, a brahmachari in any of these varnas, a brahmana brahmachari, he will try to understand how to do pujas, how to do that, he will read Sanskrit grammar, he will try to, he is built for what? For giving advice. That's how. So based on the Kshatriya brahmachari, he will want to know about warfare, he will want to know about strategy and how to kill and all of those particular things. Similarly, Vaishya knows about his own business and all of those particular sets of things. So brahmachari as dharma. So dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Dharma belongs to, or understanding dharma belongs to the brahmachari. Grahastha, what is his key intent? Is artha and kama. Yeah, means he will generate money and he will now try to fulfill desires. Now, of course, if he is trying to fulfill desires in a demoniac way, then he is not part. He's actually not called a grahastha. He's called a grahamedi. That's a separate discussion altogether. But largely, he is dharma, artha, and kama. So dharma here, brahmachari, grahastha is artha and kama. Vanaprasthi starts to now look towards, oh, I have dharma, artha, kama is done. Now I have to look towards moksha. So wisdom. His focus is on wisdom. Their focus here is on wealth and progeny for the grahastha. For the brahmachari, focus is on knowledge. So wisdom is what he's seeking. Vanaprasthi, tries to understand all of the scriptures. He is now done all of his duties. He is slightly free. His sons or daughters have grown up. They're probably married. Yeah, he is now trying to understand all of the entire system. And then sannyasa focuses on liberation. So here is wisdom, here is liberation. Both are aspects of moksha. But that's how typically the varnas, they kind of focus towards. Yeah, and all the duties which are there in each of the boxes for each of these sets of people is based on their varna and ashrama, different sets of duties and different sets of things that he will be doing. Yeah, largely a brahmana is sattvic in nature. Therefore, and again, like I have discussed this multiple times, the varna system is not based on birth. Yeah, somebody who is a Shudra, his son can become a Brahmana in the right system of Varnashram Dharma. It is not that he is, oh, his father is a Shudra, I will also become a Shudra. No, he might have a propensity of being a Shudra, no problem, he can become a Shudra. But if he has a propensity to become a Brahmana or a Kshatriya, he is trained in that particular set of knowledge in that particular system. So largely Brahmanas, boys who have a lot of sattvic nature, they are, and you can find out by the age of 5 by looking at their jataka, by looking at their nature. Oh, he looks very sattvic, maybe he's a Brahminical boy, maybe we should send him to the Brahminical training. Kshatriyas are rajasic, passion, mode of passion. Vaishyas are passion and ignorance. Shudras largely mode of ignorance is acting on them. So the three modes of nature based on how they act, based on the dharma, artha, kama, moksha principle, and based on the varna and the ashrama set of duties. Now each box represents a set of prescribed duties that everybody has to execute and perform. So now in the Daivi Varnashrama system, in the right Varnashrama system, you have to now apply on top of this the Ishavasyam principle. And what does the Ishavasya principle say? Yeah, that's what you learn that's what we have to learn as part of this knowledge. Here, of course, now we are late in understanding of because the entire Varnashrama system is broken. Nobody has taught all of this earlier. But yeah, never, it's always, what is that principle? Better late than never. So we are applying the principle of better late than never and trying to understand this whole thing so that we can go towards, the entire concept is using the Kshatriya and Brahmana principle. You go beyond the three modes of material nature. You have to go beyond. You have to go towards Shuddha Sattva, towards beyond all of this particular system. That is what we are trying to do. And we're trying to do that or understand that by applying the Ishavasya principle. So each of these particular duties, sets of duties, how do we have to do? That's what we see here. Oops, did I stop? 1 minute. Yeah. How do we have to do? Executing the prescribed duties as mentioned in 3.9. That work, what is this work? Work is your prescribed duties. That's what here also is. Performance. Work is performed, right? Perform what? Perform your prescribed duties. How it is to be done? As a sacrifice for Vishnu. Yeah, that is how the performance of the work has to be done. As what? As a sacrifice for Vishnu. So that's what the entire Ishavasya principle here comes up now. We do this work, everything is given to me by the Lord. Oh, all of this portion is given to me. Let me do. So this house that I'm living is not my house. It is Krishna's house. I'm just a simple caretaker here. Let me make this house so nice so that it becomes like a temple. It is Lord Krishna's place. So the house becomes a temple and you are a temple householder, isn't it? What have you done? You have sacrificed your house for Lord Krishna, isn't it? Ishavasya principle is applied. Oh, this entire house, Krishna, it belongs to you. Yeah. So as a grahastha, what am I doing? The house, I have given it off. I have sacrificed it to Lord Vishnu, isn't it? I sacrifice, why? Because I don't consider it mine, even though it is, I mean, technically I have kind of bought it, or I'm paying rent for it, or I owned it, or I built it. But like we saw in the previous thing, the raw materials I have not built. Raw materials I have not done. Nobody can. So just by making shape of it, I cannot claim ownership. Who is the original owner of all of this? It is Lord Krishna. What am I doing now? Therefore, I'm applying the Ishavasya principle that this house, oh, Lord Krishna, you have temporarily given me all of these facility. It belongs to you. I will make it as pleasant for you. So I have put Krishna pictures everywhere because he's the owner of the house, right? So that's what typically what happens. That an owner of the house, he wants to see his own pictures, right? And this is Krishna's house. We have to put Krishna's pictures all over the place. So what am I doing? I'm applying the Ishavasya principle. The house or the householder is executing his duty as a householder by doing sacrifice for Vishnu. What happens because of this? Then the karma associated with all of the house related execution do not come to me. Why? Because that's what it says. When you do it for his satisfaction, yeah, and in that way you'll always be free from bondage. Just say many things. Not only the house is just an example. This body, have I created this body? I have not created. I'm just a temporary resident in this body. And now this body has all the intelligence and the brain has been given by Lord Krishna. Using that brain, I have created all of this, energy, or I go earn salary or whatever. So even the salary is coming. Why? Because of this brain that I have, or because of the hands that I have, or because of the legs that I have, or because of the skills I have. I have been able to earn the money. So actually, who the money belongs to? It belongs to Lord Krishna, even though you have earned it. But you have earned it not by your own dint. You have taken assistance of, or the entire assistance is Lord Krishna. Brain is Lord Krishna's. Everything is, isn't it? So therefore, what am I doing? Even the body, I have to use it for Lord Krishna. So whatever work I'm doing with this particular body, I have to do it for Lord Krishna's satisfaction. Yeah. Then the karma does not bind me. Yeah. So the entire Varnashrama Dharma system is for what? For us to comprehend and understand this particular aspect. So when Srila Prabhupada talks about Naishkarma or Akarma, without executing duties mentioned in Vedic literature, all those Varnashrama Dharma, if we do it thinking that I am the doer, you will get karma. If you know, oh, I cannot be the doer, it has to be Lord Krishna who is the doer, then a karma. So it's all here in your mind. Do you take ownership of the work and the result of that work, or do you offer the work and the result of the work to Lord Krishna? Yeah, that is what the understanding here has to be, nothing else. Yeah, once you understand, and why is that? Because of the Ishavasya principle, isn't it? Yeah, yeah. So let's read further. What does Srila Prabhupada say further? Mataji, go ahead.
This literature can regulate the working energy of a human being in such a way that he can gradually realize the authority of the Supreme Being. When he realizes the authority of personality of Godhead, Vasudeva or Krishna, it is to be understood that he has attained the stage of positive knowledge.
Okay, hold on. Yeah, hold on. Let's meditate on this. Now, it says this literature. What literature? The Vedic literature. It can regulate the working energy of the human being. So when we follow the Varnashrama system, when this entire whatever I showed, when you follow this Varnashrama system, automatically what happens? We basically get to know what the principle or the Ishavasya principle is, just as part of for being in the system. That's what we also do, right? For children, we don't make them sit separately and make them. We put them in a school. And in the school, what he goes first standard, second standard, third standard, fourth standard, fifth standard, and he learns addition, multiplication, ABCD. Yeah, all of that he slowly learns. 10th grade, he reads big novels. 12th grade, he reads and he criticizes different books. Yeah, or maybe he writes mathematical understandings. All of what has he done? He has just been put into a system of the schools, and by the time he finishes 12 years or 15 years, he has now all the required basic knowledge to live his life subsequently. Isn't at least the school system provides those particular set of what I should say capabilities, yeah, for the child to go ahead. Now here, this is what the Varnashrama system also does. It is like a school. By the time you finish with your Varnashrama system, and by the time you are sannyasi, you have understood the entire thing, what the entire funda is. You are not attached. You are fully dedicated to Lord Krishna. And by the time you leave your body, you are only thinking of Lord Krishna and nothing else. That is what the ideal Varnashrama system should do. Once you are in the system should take care of your progress, and by the end of your life, you are given a test. Do you remember Lord Krishna at the time of death or not? If you don't remember, you come back again, you have failed. Yeah, therefore you come back again in the system and go through all the system all over again. If you have passed, yeah, you remember Lord Krishna only at the time of death. What does Lord Krishna say? 8.5 Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram yaprayati samadbhavam nati ashtatra na samshaya. That there is no doubt that you will pass if you think of only Krishna at the time of Antakal, isn't it? So then at the Antakal, you're remembering Lord Krishna, you are only remembering, pass out, yeah, system has taken care. What has happened? You have gone to Shuddha Sattva. You've gone beyond the Tamas, Rajas and Sattva Bhav to go into Shuddha Sattva, or mode of transcendence, not the mode of ignorance, passion or ignorance or goodness, but mode of transcendence. You have transcended the modes. Why? Because you have been put into, of course, now unfortunately the system is broken. We are just now kind of discussing in detail here based on whatever is there in the Vedic axiomatic truths, but we are not following those Vedic axiomatic truths, and therefore what are we? We are still remaining in the system. Why? Because at the time of death we are thinking, अरे मेरा fixed deposit का क्या होएगा, अरे मेरी बेटी की शादी होएगी कि नहीं, मेरा ये होगा कि नहीं, मेरे घर का क्या होगा, मेरा बीवी का क्या होगा, उसका क्या होगा, मेरा so all you're thinking at the time of death is all of these things. You're not thinking of Krishna at all. You are back again, and then again you have to go through the same cycle. And if you have done some good karmas, okay, you might get, and that's what Srila Prabhupada now talks about further, what happens to those who are unable to do this in this cycle. Let's come to that particular point a bit later. Yeah, sorry, let's read ahead, Mataji. Yeah, so that's what the gradual realization of what? The authority of the Supreme Being. Yeah, and when he realizes this authority, what is he understood? He said to be understood in the state of positive knowledge. That is the Shuddha Sattva that I'm talking of. That you are beyond the three modes of material nature and you are not in this particular cycle. Yeah, okay, Mataji, read ahead.
In this purified stage, the modes of nature, namely goodness, passion, and ignorance, cannot act, and he is able to work on the basis of Naishkarmya. Such work does not bind one to the cycle of birth and death.
Exactly. Yes, that is what we have to do. We have to now apply the principle of Ishavasyam in everything. That no, this house, like I'll give the example of the house, everything, even cooking. Oh, this food that I've cooked or the food that has been given to me is Lord Krishna's. Let me first give it to him. So therefore, you do have the concept of offering. Even the Muslims have the concept of halal. What do they do? The sacrifice in front of Allah. The concept of sacrifice. We are also doing the concept of sacrifice. What is the sacrifice we have done? Oh Krishna, I have got all of these foods. Yeah, I am not going to eat it. You are the first owner of this. You take this food. Whatever remains, we will take it as your prasad. We will take it as your mercy, whatever you want to give us. Yeah, and therefore that is the principle. That is the what I should say consciousness that we are putting. What is this consciousness called? It's called Krishna consciousness. We are offering the food. So cooking, you go to office, you earn money. The money also you say Lord Krishna. Of course, nowadays everything comes as direct credit to our bank account. But in good old days, it used to come in as cash. I remember my father keeping the cash in the temple, saying that Krishna, this entire money is yours. Yeah, and then whatever that comes as prasad, I use it for your house only. Yeah, you have given me these children who are supposed to be taken care of. I am taking care of on your behalf. And this money that you have given me, I'm using it to educate them. I'm using it. So that's how the Krishna conscious principle, Ishavasya principle comes in. What happens when we do this? Naishkarmya. Yeah. So when we do Naishkarmya, what happens? This work does not bind us to the cycle of birth and death. Now, that is what the entire thought process of Ishavasyam is. So when you combine the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, when you combine the teaching of Isopanisad, it becomes a very powerful mechanism. Yeah, that you are an Atma and you are taking birth again and again and again. How do I overcome this? I apply principles mentioned in Isopanisad, which is to do Naishkarmya, which is to, how do I do Naishkarmya? By implementing the principle of Ishavasya, isn't it? Yeah. But can I directly suddenly become, Krishna conscious? Maybe not. I will have to slowly and gradually come to that stage. Yeah. That is what, and during I'm gradually coming to this stage, a lot of what I should say, hurdles come into my understanding. What are those? Let's see. That's what Srila Prabhupada mentions in the second paragraph. Sorry, this is the fourth paragraph. Yeah. Yeah, Aditya Prabhuji can read this one.
Hare Krishna. Actually, no one has to do anything more than render devotional service to the Lord. However, in the lower stages of life, one cannot immediately adopt the activities of devotional service, nor can one completely stop fruitive work.
Okay, hold
The
on.
condition.
Yeah. So this is now that when I have now understood Ishavasya principle, I have understood I am an Atma. Then suddenly can I stop and suddenly become fully devotional? Maybe for some people, maybe they have past life something, but our egos, our bodily conditioning, our surroundings, so many things will stop us from doing this. We cannot directly stop fruitive work. So therefore, you need a system. Yeah. What is that system? That Varnashrama system. Unfortunately, that Varnashrama system is also broken. So what do we have to do then? We have to therefore do everything as devotional service to the Lord. That is what Srila Prabhupada. How to do that is, let's see what that comes by understanding the difficulties that we have in doing this. Because a problem, so how do you solve a problem? By understanding the problem, right? So let's see, why am I not able to do devotional service fully 24 hours a day? That's why? Because I cannot stop completely the fruitive. Billions of lifetimes we have been doing fruitive work. Everything has been extremely selfish. Only me, mine, me, mine. Yeah. But now suddenly, oh no, it has to be everything Krishna's. No, it might not be a simple transformation. Yeah. Okay. Let's see further what Srila Prabhupada has to say. Go ahead.
A conditioned soul is accustomed to working for sense gratification for his own selfish interest, immediate or extended.
Okay,
An ordinary man.
Hold on. Now this is an interesting part. Yeah, that we see everybody is selfish, isn't it? Deep down, everybody just wants to ensure that he is safe. He has the things that he has got. Whether he has got the best deal, I have the best house. Isn't it? Selfish interest is the predominant force in which why we do things. And here it could be immediate, means for me, or extended. Now this extension is the challenge. Why? What is the extended here means? My bodily extensions. These could be my parents, my sons, daughters, my wife, my sister, my relatives, my countrymen, my jatwala, my all people who speak my language, all those who are from this region of Maharashtra, or all of this is what the extended body. And we try to either do it for ourselves or our extended bodies. That's what here Srila Prabhupada. So this principle too is to be important to be understood. Yeah, go ahead, read that.
An ordinary man works for his own sense enjoyment, and when this principle of sense enjoyment is extended to include his society, nation, or humanity in general, it assumes very attractive names such as altruism, socialism, communism, nationalism, and humanitarianism.
Yeah, this is the point that I'm making. Hold on. Yeah, that what does this extended mean? The point extended here is for all of these societal things that we extend to. And like we see the entire caste system so predominant in India, that no, I have to marry in my caste. My daughter has to marry in my caste only. In my why my I am born here, and therefore this is me, and all of that. So, and of course, maybe there are certain positive aspects or trade-offs, but one of the understandings is why we do that particular thing is purely also because the extended body that we have. I'm doing it on my bodily level. All these altruism, socialism, yeah, nationalism, I'm Indian, yeah, Mera Bharat Mahan. All of these isms are what Srila Prabhupada says, they are karma bandhana. Let's see what he says. Go ahead further, Prabhuji.
These isms are certainly very attractive forms of karma bandhana, karmic bondage, but the Vedic instruction of Sri Isopanisad is that if one actually wants to live for any of the above isms, he should make them God-centered. There is no harm in becoming a family man or an altruist, a socialist, a communist, a nationalist, or a humanitarian, provided that one execute his activities in relation with Ishavasya, the God-centered conception.
Exactly. Yeah. So we might think, oh, these isms are problematic. Yes, the isms are problematic if Krishna is not in the center. So if Krishna is in the center, oh, I want all my relatives to be Krishna conscious. Oh, my relatives, but let me try to give them Krishna consciousness. Let me always discuss Krishna consciousness along with them. Then what happens? They are my relatives. I am applying my extended bodies, but what am I doing? I'm giving them Krishna conscious. My discussion between all of the relatives is not Shah Rukh Khan, but it is Lord Krishna. Yeah. So like that, what am I doing? I'm basically creating a God-centered conception. Why? Because I don't want karma bandhana. Why does the karma bandhana come? Because I'm doing it for my own selfish things or my extended body's selfish things. Isn't it? So this karmic bondage, I want to reduce. How do I reduce? Yena kena prakarena mana Krishna niveshaya. One way or the other, Krishna has to be brought in the center. In any of the activity that you do, you might be a communist, you might be a feminist, you might be a Black Lives Matter activist or whatever. If Krishna is not there as part of your activities, karma bandhana. Yeah. One way or the other, yena kena prakarena mana Krishna niveshaya. The mind has to be, and therefore, why do we do it? I am living in this house. In every corner, I put Krishna's picture. I put one Jagannath picture here. I put one this thing there. Why? Because it reminds me of Krishna. It reminds me of the Ishavasya principle. Yeah. So this Ishavasya principle has to be applied even in relationships, even in our extended bodies isms that Srila Prabhupada talks of. What happens then? No karma bandhan. Yeah. So what happens when we do this? When we do this aspect of Ishavasya, that's what Srila Prabhupada now gives the benefit of doing this in the fifth paragraph. Let's read this one. Yeah, Parina Mataji can read this one.
Hare Krishna. In the Bhagavad Gita 2.4, Lord Krishna states that God-centered activities are so valuable that just a few of them can save a person from the greatest danger.
Yes,
The
hold
greatest danger.
on. Now let's look at what this 2.40 is. If oops, not here. Already opened it. 2.40. Yeah, 2.40 here says Neha Bikramanaasho asti pratyavayo na vidyate swalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhaya. Swalpam apyasya dharmasya. Swalpam is little. What dharmasya? If you do any of this dharma, varnashram dharma or the activities of God consciousness, trayate means to overcome. Mahato bhayat. The biggest of the biggest fear, or the biggest of the biggest danger, it will overcome. What could be the biggest danger?
Birth.
Birth.
Life.
How
Yes.
can birth be biggest danger? You'll enjoy life, no? So nice. Birth is so
We'll go to
spiritual.
the
So nice.
lower life forms.
You might go to the lower next birth. Okay. Maybe Anita Mataji is talking about next birth. Yeah. Yes. Next birth might be in a lower life form. That is the biggest danger. Why? Because then you will not get to progress. Yeah. In your spirituality. Because lower life forms, what are you doing? You're only spending karma. You're only extending. We discussed last time that in lower life form, what do? We just distend karma. We don't have the concept of knowledge there. Only our karma is getting expended. The prarabdha is getting expended there. And then again, we'll take next life form, we'll expend some more prarabdha, then more. And then maybe again, after many lifetimes, we might get a human birth. Yeah. And then in that human birth, now I might get a chance again to get released from the cycle. Till that time, I'm stuck in the cycle. Yeah. Questions. Anita Mataji, go ahead.
No, Guruji, this reminds me of Bhool Bhulaiya. Like, you are in a life.
Exactly. You are in a Bhool Bhulaiya.
Yeah, like it's
Very
so
nice.
complicated. Yeah.
Exactly.
But it's not so complicated if we follow the scriptures.
Yes, very nice. Yeah. Actually, it's not. The scripture becomes the key to the Bhul Bhulaiya. isn't it? Yeah,
Yes.
Pratibha Mataji had a point. Go ahead.
Yes, Prabhuji, like we were talking about how animals only like expend their prarabdha karma and they don't have the knowledge. But you know, with a lot of videos I keep seeing where like horse, cats, dogs, cows, and
They
all
are,
are
yeah.
so like devoted to God.
Hmm.
You know, every time there is that Maha Manglarti, whatever, they come on
Somehow.
time,
Correct.
and then you know they make like some sound and they fold their hand and
Yes.
all. So maybe they were like
Exactly.
humans with some knowledge and something
Yes.
bad they did and they became probably
Exactly. Exactly. It's like the Bharat Maharaj story, right? The Bharat Maharaj, he becomes a
deer
deer.
will become, yeah.
Exactly, but still he remembers everything even as per maybe these animals are similar. They were advanced devotees, but they couldn't remember Lord Krishna at the last time at the time of their passing away. And therefore they had to take some birth again. But they fortunately got born in say near a temple or near a place where they could continue with some of their at least. And maybe after some point of time they will become human beings and then they might get released altogether. Yeah. So
Yeah,
we
they
don't know.
cannot
Yeah.
go from that janma only.
No, no, no.
They will not.
Only so there are instances.
Ah,
Like for example, there is one case which is mentioned by Ramanujacharya principles that when Ramanujacharya he got some prasad, yeah, and he ate the prasad, so it became the prasad was Perumal's prasad, and then it becomes his jutha. And then what he did, he kind of just cleaned his hand, and it fell into the pond. In the pond that he cleaned his hand, and when he cleaned the some of the remnants of the prasad was eaten by the fish. And as soon as the fish ate it, it is mentioned in by that they became 400 Vishnu forms and they got released. Yeah.
wow.
So you might have to get such kind of mercy,
Yeah.
that you got Mahaprasad of Ramanujacharya and then you were released. So then those are extenuating cases. Those are outliers. Unfortunately, they were there at the right point, right time because of some prarabdha, some past
Good karma.
good karma, some sukruti was there that they were there at the right time, right place, right time, right place, and then they got. Maybe that was what their prarabdha was, that they will get to, yeah, and like that. So maybe there are certain extenuating circumstances, but general rule we are talking of. Yeah.
Perumal is Balaji.
Not Vishnu. Yeah. Ranga, Ranga, what is that? Ranganatha, right? In Lord Temple in the Sri Rangam.
Okay.
Yeah. Also Lord Vishnu in Tirupati, he's also called Perumal is God, basically, as a generic name.
Okay.
Yeah, Anita Mataji had a point.
Guruji, the same line some years back, there was an elephant in some South Indian temple who used to bell every time, and then when people worshipped him also because
Yeah,
he was
exactly.
at
He was a
the
devotee, yeah.
in the aarti and everything, he would react, and he was very, I don't know which temple.
Exactly. Yeah. Many such examples are there. Yeah. So trayate mahato bhayat. So what is the biggest danger? The danger to come back again in the evolutionary cycle of 8.4 million species. That's what Srila Prabhupada explains here. Yeah, go ahead, Mataji. Parina Mataji, you're ready.
Yes, sir. The greatest danger of life is the danger of gliding down again into the evolutionary cycle of birth and death among the 84 lakh species. If somehow or other a man misses the spiritual opportunity afforded by his human form of life and falls down again into the evolutionary cycle, he must be considered most unfortunate.
Hare Krishna. Hold on. Yeah. So that's what, yeah. So imagine if you have got this human form of life and you just spent it away, animalistic. So like that, our acharyas have written beautiful poems that if you have not done Radha Krishna bhajan, that there is a Narottam Das Thakur, or I don't know which Narottam Das Thakur's poetry, which says Radha Krishna na bhajiya. No, if you've not done bhajan of Radha Krishna, what happens? Janu, what is that word? It was Jane Jan Bujke, you have eaten poison. Out. That is how this particular.
Janiya Soniya Visha Khaina.
Janiya Suniya Vishaya Khainu, Visha Khainu. That's so if you've not done Radha Krishna bhajan, it is as good as eating poison on Jan Bujke. That's what that particular line is. Very, very important understanding here. Why? Because if you've not understood this in the human form of life, then again you'll go back again into the cycles of evolutionary cycles. But if you have applied little bit of Ishavasya principle, what will happen? That will help you from this greatest danger. That's what here Srila Prabhupada says ahead. Let's read this, Mataji. Go ahead.
Due to his defective senses, a foolish man cannot see that this is happening. Consequently, Sri Ishopanishad advises us to exert our energy in the spirit of Ishavasya. Being so engaged, we may wish to live for many, many years. Otherwise, a long life in itself has no value. A tree lives for hundreds and hundreds of years, but there is no point of living a long time like trees, or breeding like bellows, or begetting children like hogs and dogs, or eating like camels. A humble, God-centered life is more valuable than a colossal hope of a life dedicated to godless altruism or socialism.
Yes. Yeah. So if you're just living like a pack of animals, we'll think, oh, my countrymen, this is my countrymen. And you are trying to do everything good for your countrymen. You are doing an altruistic activity. Yes, you're nationalist, you're doing something good, but that is of no use. Why is it of no use? Because you will again take Janma maybe in the same land, because here, and maybe you might come out as a cow or elephant or a donkey or a cockroach or a monkey. We don't know. Why? Because, oh, this is my land. I like it is mentioned right in many of the cases that when you die thinking about your money, next Janma is like a snake. Why? Because the snake guards a treasure. So that's how the kind of consciousness you have developed. And when you leave the body, you're leaving with that consciousness. What does Krishna say in 8.5? 8.6 was Antakale cha mameva smaran mukta kalevaram. 8.5 was yam, or other way around, I forgot. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajatyante kalevaram. That yam yam vapi smaran bhavam. Whatever you are thinking at the time of death, that state we will attain, O Arjuna. That is what Lord Krishna says. So therefore, if we might be doing all the altruistic activities. Oh, I'm working for the hospital, I'm working for this, I work for poor people, I work for this. They are of no use. Even it's no use to the poor people. Why? Because next Janma they will again become poor and they will still go into the same cycle. What is the real altruistic activity? When you teach them the Ishavasya principle, when you teach them Krishna consciousness, when you teach them the law of karma, then what happens? Then you are doing the altruistic activity which you wanted to do, fine. But how are you now doing the altruistic activity? You have got Krishna in the center. Your Ishavasya principle is getting applied here because, oh, these are also Krishna's children. Yeah, and they are so poor now because they don't have the right knowledge. Let me extend my altruistic. Oh, I like them. I like all the poor people in the world. But how do I remove their poverty from the core? By giving them Krishna consciousness, by ensuring that the next Janma, they will not get born again itself. So no suffering at all. I am removing their suffering from the root. Yeah, that is what our energy has to be extended. So your nationalism is good, but what is it? Should the nationalism be? I want all Indians to become Krishna conscious. That is what my nationalism is. Why? Because I believe that will help all Indians together. If you're thinking, oh, me India, my India, then maybe that. Or why only me? The entire world. What did Srila Prabhupada do? He didn't keep it to only me and my Indians. He said everybody, the entire world has to get liberated. So let me try, and therefore he set up his entire, what was his entire Ishavasya principle? That the entire world belongs to Krishna and everybody has to become Krishna conscious. So his 7 principles of ISKCON, the crux of the principle is how to propagate Krishna consciousness. Why? Because everything belongs to Krishna. Isn't it? So he acted on the Ishavasya principle and he implemented everything. Okay, let's look at this one last paragraph. I'm a bit late, but let's finish this one. Yeah, Anita Mataji can read this one quickly.
When altruistic activities are executed in the spirit of Sri Ishopanishad, they become a form of karma yoga. Such activities are recommended in the Bhagavad Gita For they guarantee their executor protection from the danger of sliding down into the evolutionary process of birth and death. Even though such God centered activities may be half finished, they are still good for the executor because they will guarantee him a human form in his next birth. In this way, one can have another chance to improve his position in the path of liberation.
This is the biggest benefit of following the Ishavasya principle. Yeah. Why? Because it will give you a chance to become a human in your next janma. Why? Because you have to continue this journey. So this Lord Krishna also says that in the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. If you remember, Arjuna asks this question to Lord Krishna, that what happened to that yogi who has not completed? He's not here, neither there. So what does Krishna say? Shachinam Srimatam Gehe. That person, he will get born as a human being in a family of good brahmanas or in a rich family, so that roti kapda makan ka tension nahi, he can start off his journey directly to complete to wherever he is. And that is what here. So even though such God-centered, all the Ishavasyam activities are not fully finished, but it will at least give you a guarantee of a human form of life. That is what the biggest benefit here is. Yeah. And in this way, what happens? You'll get one more chance at least, yeah, in the next Janma itself to kind of complete, rather than falling into a cycle of evolutionary births from becoming a donkey, then something else, then some other jiva, then maybe you might become a fish, and then you might continue your aquatic life, and then you might become a tree, then we don't know what else. And then maybe you will become a human being. That time maybe another 1,000, 10,000 years have gone by, and Kali Yuga has become more problematic. And by the time when you come during that particular point of time, maybe the Kali Yuga is so problematic that even though you have a human birth, you might not be able to get a chance for liberation. So therefore, it is very urgent for all of us to become and implement, become Krishna conscious and implement the Ishavasya principle here. That's the urgency that we have to understand. Problem is we don't understand this urgency. Yeah. So that's what Srila Prabhupada finally ends. He says the entire book, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, it is written by Rupa Goswami, and Srila Prabhupada has translated into English. That tells us how to execute God-centered activities in an elaborate manner. So maybe that could be our next book to discuss. That after Isopanisad, we will discuss Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, so that we can understand how to more understand the implementation of Ishavasya principle. Of course, Isopanisad also will give us a nice set of practices and prayers for implementing Ishavasya, but this will be maybe something more. Yeah. Hare Krishna. If you see, Srila Prabhupada says, we recommend this valuable book to all those who are interested in performing their activities in the spirit of Isopanisad. So that is what we have to basically do. So anyway, we will discuss, God willing, Krishna willing, we will discuss Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu also. Even I have to learn. So while we are discussing, I will also get to learn. Hare Krishna. Okay, sorry, I'm 5 minutes late, but any quick questions or thoughts to what we've discussed today?
Hare Krishna, Guruji. In the second last, or in the third last paragraph, it was mentioned that a tree lives for hundreds and hundreds of years, but there is no point in living like trees or breathing like bellows. So, Guruji, if you can
Bellows is like,
explain.
yeah, bellows, see, bellows, we all breathe, right? Yeah, but bellows, which means if you see in a smith shop where they, heat up the metal and then they beat it. For heating the metal, there is a fire. And the fire, where the air is given from, there is a bellows. So this bellows basically is nothing like that. It is also breathing. But what is the use of that breathing? Isn't it? That breathing is just useless breathing. Same way, we are breathing up and down, but we are like bellows. If we are not, all we are doing is firing the, fire of materialism. There, the fire is the fire for beating the metal. Here, what are we breathing for? We are breathing for the fire of materialism, for increasing the fire. What is that use of this breathing? If you are not going to implement Ishavasya, this breathing, how will you make breathing Ishavasyam? By ensuring that the result of the breathing, which is the life, the prana, is dedicated to Lord Krishna. And therefore, even your breath becomes Ishavasya. Yeah, the breath becomes Krishna conscious. But if you are just breathing like bellows, like just the fire of the belly and the fire of the body and the fire of your senses are just getting, getting air, what's the use of that? That is the point here Srila Prabhupada makes. Now, in fact, this comes in, it will come in the Bhagavatam also in our discussions. I think, I can't remember, but this is a principle explained by Narada. Yeah, that you will be breathing like bellows, but what is the use of that breathing? Because all you're doing is firing up the fire of the senses. Yeah, or we will be begetting children like hogs and dogs. What's the use of that? Those hogs and dogs are just they are just adding to the all the jivas. They're just becoming hogs and dogs as baby hogs and dogs. We might be eating like camels. A camel, if you see a camel, how does it eat? It's in the desert, and when it eats, say, a cactus plant or whatever, it starts to chew. Yeah, and when it starts to chew, the thorns actually it hurts the camel's tongue. Yeah, and the blood comes, and it, oh wow, so tasty, and its own blood it tastes, thinking that, oh, this is so nice. Yeah. So even when we are expending this body just in a sense gratification, we are also thinking, oh, we are expending our just blood into this materialistic sense activities, but it's just adding to our karma basically. It's of no use.
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna. Okay, any other questions at this point of time? If not, we will close and we will start our next class with Isopanisad mantra number 3, which is what happens if you do not follow the Ishavasya principle. Yeah, Hare Krishna. Okay, so let's close for the day. Ekam Shastram Devaki Putra Geetam Eko Putra Eva. Eko Mantra Tasya Namani Yani Karmapi Ekam Tasya Devasya Seva. Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Bandhusya Sakha Tvameva Vidya Dravidam Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Hare Paramatmane Pranatah Klesasaya Govindaya Namo. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Chananda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanduram Mardhanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadguru Katyayani Mahamaye Mahayoginyadhishwari Nanda Gopasutam Devi Patim Me Kurutenam Sri Krishna Sharanam Mama Dasoham Krishna Tavasmi Sri Krishna Sharanam Mama Dasoham Krishna Tavasmi Sri Krishna Sharanam Mama Dasoham Krishna Tavasmi Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare श्री ईशोपनिषद पाठ की जय श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
हरे
Hare
कृष्णा
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
हरे कृष्णा बाय बाय
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Danda Pranam.
हरे कृष्णा दंडवत माता जी बाय बाय